Do you deal with plenty of patients who have trauma in their background or deep trauma in their background?
I do. I wouldn't say that they're coming to me and saying that they have
No, no,
trauma,
no,
right? They're not walking
no,
in the
no,
door and saying,
no,
I want to work on my trauma,
no, no, they're probably not. In fact,
right?
in fact, that idea,
Right.
that question was stimulated by you talking about what they don't want to talk about, really, and whether they know it or not. That's probably what they're not talking about, right? So,
Yes. And then it's tricky, because when you
mhm.
look at the big T's and the little T's, big traumas and the little
Yeah,
traumas,
yep,
sometimes that's eye-opening to clients of like, oh, I've had a lot of little T's. There is some trauma. You got to take the word trauma with a grain of salt because it's in the
yep.
eye of the beholder, right?
Hmm.
So, but there's not a single one of us that isn't walking around with one or 10 negative beliefs at any given time. We it doesn't matter what walk we've had in life, we've got
Hmm.
one.
Right. Yeah. No, no, absolutely. Yeah. And one of the things, I mean, your approach, I think, would be really helpful in helping people with trauma. One of the problems I see, and you're right, it's a big issue, and trauma can mean many different things across a big, big spectrum. But, if we're talking about people who really have had some really traumatic experiences, again, that has to be dealt with. That has to be dealt with. Otherwise, it just lingers in the system, not only lingers, but then attaches that anxiety and trauma feelings to lots of other things in life, and it perpetuates. So it has to be brought out. And that's a big challenge. I know you're talking about EMDR, which is a very useful tool for doing that. But the sort of more conventional medical approach, let's medicalize it and manage the symptom, just is not going to work. Right?
Right. That's yes, exactly. And you know, um, yeah, I was thinking of a client was going through my mind while you were talking about this, and very complex trauma. And she walks in and out front for a session says, I don't want to go there, I don't want to deal with that. And I kind of had to walk her through, that's fine, that's okay right now, but if you're here
Right.
and you want to get here, I have to highly encourage you to go this route at some point someday, and just know we're only going to get so far. But what she has been open to in the meantime is learning to set some boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
She's been open to going to the functional medicine provider that I prefer locally here,
Mm-hmm.
and looking at where her body isn't functioning the best and how that could be affecting things in her life. She's open to that, and because you think the body keeps the score, right?
Absolutely.
So right, that trauma is in there whether she is consciously facing it or not. And if that was the route that she was open to starting with, by all means, let's go, right? Let's build that
Absolutely.
foundation.
Yes, good reference to Bessel van der Kolk there. The body keeps the score. He's one of the experts in trauma, and that's an excellent book. Anyone's interested in
Yes.
following that up.